Yeah, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps live from Studio 3 somewhere in Colorado. Yes, welcome to the show. We've got a ton of stuff to talk about. Political. We talk about anything political, from dog catcher to world leaders, colleges, universities, cats and dogs, doing it all over the place. Yes, we'll be talking about that so you can make an informed decision at the ballot box. Let's get this show going. Let's welcome all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma. It's the mendacious, the mouthy, the malign, the melodious Lloyd Mendenhall.
You know, I'm starting to feel like Tyrus looks every time Gutfield introduces him. You never know what he's going to say, and I'm kind of feeling the same. You know, I guess that puts me in good company if I'm feeling like Tyrus. So can't complain about that. Anyways, welcome to everybody in the chat. Hello, how you doing, Art?
I'm doing good. We had a nice day today, sunny, in the 80s, so it wasn't blistering hot, but it was nice out. And
it was actually decent here today. I think we got some rain late last night, earlier this morning. It was kind of cloudy.
Yeah, same here. We had rain last night as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah, it's been nice. So,
all right, let's welcome from the Great White North, the blue state with the blue balls. Let's welcome Charles Gillespie.
Hey, welcome. Hey, Lloyd. Everybody in the chat.
Hello.
Howdy. And how is it in your neck of the woods?
Well, it was kind of cloudy most of the day today, but that was actually a welcome change. The last couple of days have been really brutal.
Oh, good.
You know, it's today's Thursday, so Tuesday it was, it was well over 95 degrees. Yesterday we kept on, we almost made 90, and then today it was like 70 something.
Good. You're probably getting the weather we had a couple days ago where we were in the 70s. It was nice here, so that's what's going on. So we got a lot to talk about. So yeah, we need to talk about this parliamentarian from the Senate, Elizabeth MacDonough. I am going to play a video that pretty much sums up all about it.
Here for educational purposes because people need to know this kind of information. I just found this out my darn self. Check it out.
She's unelected. She's unknown to most Americans. And yet she's quietly wielding veto power over the MAGA agenda in the United States Congress. Her name is Elizabeth MacDonough. She is the Senate parliamentarian, and she's become the most powerful Democrat you've never heard of. Her official job is to advise the Senate on whether certain legislative provisions meet the rules for reconciliation, the fast-track process that allows bills to pass with 50 votes instead of 60. But unofficially, she's become the de facto gatekeeper of what can and cannot be included in Donald Trump's one big beautiful bill. MacDonough was appointed during the Obama years by Harry Reid, and now she's systematically dismantling the Trump movement's core legislative priorities behind closed doors with zero accountability to voters. She's ruled that key MAGA proposals like defunding sanctuary cities, gutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and repealing EV mandates don't qualify under Senate budget rules. Her rationale, the provisions are incidental to spending. Now that interpretation gives her power to strip out almost any major policy, even if it saves billions of dollars. And she's not an elected official. She's a staff attorney. And her rulings are being decided as if she's a member of the Senate leadership, and they're binding, but they're not binding. Border enforcement allowing states to act independently, blocked. Civil service reform to fire bureaucrats at will, stripped out. Trump's plan to dissolve rogue agencies, gone. Stopping the EV takeover of the federal fleet, not allowed. Letting workers return taxpayer money they don't use, too incidental. This isn't red tape, it's sabotage. Under the guise of the Byrd Rule, a rule designed to prevent non-budget items from slipping into spending bills, MacDonough is deciding which parts of Trump's second-term agenda live or die. And Democrats love it. One Democrat senator called her decisions a firewall against anti-worker policies. So they know exactly what they're doing, and they're cheering it on. But here's the kicker. The parliamentarian can be overruled or fired. In 2001, Republicans fired the sitting parliamentarian who was opposing Bush tax cuts. Obama's judicial nominees were cleared after also getting rid of the Senate parliamentarian. And in 2021, Chuck Schumer threatened to fire her if she blocked his immigration push. Yet today, under Republican control, her rulings are treated as gospel. That's not procedure, that's surrender. So the next time someone tells you Trump's agenda can't move because of Senate rules, ask this: who's making the rules? And why is the GOP letting her call the shots? Elizabeth MacDonough is not neutral. She's not elected. She's not above scrutiny. It's time to stop pretending that she is.
I'll just leave this here for education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, when I saw that, I was like, wow. Yeah, Bill sent that to me. And I was just like, that's ridiculous.
Yes.
And like I told him, I think I'm going to be calling my senator's office and asking why they're letting the parliamentarians set the rules of what can and can't be in the bill.
Right.
You know, she's not elected. She wasn't appointed by this president.
Right.
She's clearly not helping out the Republicans whatsoever.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, not helping the Americans.
She's not helping America at all. Yeah.
Because all she's doing, it's all part of the Democrat agenda, is to stop Trump at every turn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's a simple, stupid, technicality like this, lawfare, attempted assassination.
There's a Supreme Court decision coming down tomorrow that may end a lot of that. Those going to restrict the judges on putting those stays in place, or stopping legislation. Yeah, they're not. They may not directly deal with everything, but what they're going to do is say these judges have overstepped their bounds. That's not their job. So that's what it looks like is coming out tomorrow. So far, Trump's been winning pretty good on at the Supreme Court.
That's great. That's great. That's awesome. I hope they get this taken care of, get rid of this knucklehead, and push forward this bill. We need to get her done. As Larry the Cable.
Well, as Brian says, it might be safer to have Vance overrule her than to fire her. Yeah, that's true too.
That's true. Yeah.
But she needs to be replaced, but not. I mean, like Brian said. I mean that's probably a two-edged sword. But having Vance overrule her, that might help move things along. And then after this has gotten through and it's gotten to the president's desk, then fire her when nothing nothing of such great importance is being brought forward to the Senate.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's so many things in that bill that are so beneficial to, I mean, the ordinary people, like the tax policy and border policy and what to do with the sanctuary cities. And,
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think that's one of the things that was brought up that the Supreme Court may be deciding on, where these judges have been putting these injunctions on removing funding from the sanctuary cities. Yeah. Well, they're probably going to lose those injunctions now because
good.
Like today, the South Carolina, the state of South Carolina had said that they could not use Medicaid to fund
abortions.
Yeah, but through Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
And said, but by law they can choose whatever doctor they want. Well, Planned Parenthood is not necessarily a doctor.
That's right.
You're not supposed to be able to fund abortions anyways, period.
Yeah.
And that's always been the law. But, they've worked around that by getting doctors from Planned Parenthood, and to do that. And so South Carolina voted in law, and the Supreme Court supported it. Said, it's within their rights as a state,
Right.
And let's see, there was a couple others that came down. I can't remember what they were, but I've watched 100 other things since then. So that was just some of the stuff that came down. But yeah, that gal there needs to be put in her place. Yeah,
that's right. So Lloyd was talking just before the show. Something happened in your neck of the woods, Charles. We had a primary in New York.
Oh God, don't remind me about that.
So Lloyd, take it away.
Well, and I don't see how anybody that's watching this wouldn't already know it, but the Muslim Socialist Democrat won the Democratic primary for mayor of the city of New York, beating out Como, which wasn't that big, wasn't that good of a choice anyways. But this person is for free everything, it's gonna, and he's going to start taxing the wealthy, make the billionaires pay for it, millionaires pay for it. And that ain't going to happen. They're just going to they're going to do like the rest of them have done. They're going to move down to Florida, They're not putting up, and, but the other thing is the current mayor, Adams, has announced today that he will be running as an independent for the mayoral race in, because they're hoping, and what they're thinking is the people that voted for this guy is the same kids that are going to Columbia University and Harvard and Princeton, and they're in the middle of those protests. And AOC has been a big supporter, so the young people voted for him, but they lost the black vote. That went to Como or one of the others, and so hopefully Adams will be able to, because all of the investigations have been dropped on him. So, and he is a former cop, and he campaigned on Law and Order. He hasn't done that good of a job, but he's better than this guy.
Yes.
This guy gets elected, this is going to be just like what happened in London. Now in London, or in England, or at least in London, you can't say anything bad about somebody online, otherwise you could be arrested.
Right.
And imprisoned. So, hello, Steve Knowles and Brian.
Steve Knowles, he could probably tell us a thing or two coming from England.
But
so, yes,
one of the things, the Jewish this guy is also he's given out some anti-Semitic statements in the past, and like we just said his name earlier.
Yeah, Charles Schumer.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer has come out in support of him, along with one of the others. And today, at the big, beautiful event that Donald Trump hosted today, with to try to get people to try to get them to push the bill through, he called Chuck Schumer a Palestinian.
Oh,
Chuck Schumer is Jewish, but he called him in front of everybody. He called him a Palestinian. He says, "Please act like one." He's supporting these people. He's supporting them. So I just have to assume he's a Palestinian now. So it's a mess. I know that Alan Dershowitz on his show today was supposed to have Mayor Adams on. Kind of help promote, kind of help push him forward, or maybe start getting him going down the road of beating this guy.
Right.
Well, as bad as it is, just remember this was the primary.
Right. This is the primary, and is there a Republican candidate running?
I think there is, but I couldn't tell you who he is.
Yeah, because why would it matter? Because it's going to be a Democrat. No one.
He said he would arrest Netanyahu.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you mean this mayoral candidate? Yeah.
Wow.
Well, unfortunately, he can't, because if Netanyahu comes to New York, he's got privileges as diplomatic immunity.
Right, diplomatic immunity, and plus he's got
hold on here. Looks like Curtis Sliwa is the American. Is it Curtis Sliwa? Yeah, Curtis Sliwa is the Republican Party's mayoral candidate for New York City.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I've heard of the name before. I don't know. Maybe he ran for Congress. I don't know.
Curtis Sliwa?
Yeah.
He founded the Guardian Angels in New York City.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
That's right.
He did run. He tried once already in 2021.
That's
lost to the current mayor of New York City.
Right.
I see.
And this time he ran unopposed. I don't know about last time, but this time he ran unopposed.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. He is. If for those that live outside the country doesn't know who the Guardian Angels were, they were a
kind of a
vigilante group.
Yeah.
They were.
They were more like, a more aggressive form of neighborhood watch, but they were all over New York City. They were on the, they were there to try and keep the violence down.
Right. Yeah. And vigilante is not like you said. They're a more aggressive firm of the neighborhood watch. They watched over the neighborhoods to keep the rioting down. They came out of I don't know, when was it? When did they start? God, they've been around.
I think it was
1998. I think it is
98. Okay.
Oh, 70. No, sorry, 79. 79.
79. I was going to say they've been around, because in the 70s you had the Black Panthers, and I think the Guardian Angels came out to kind of counter the Black Panthers that were rioting in New York. So, and they're not scared to get their hands dirty. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's right. What else is happening? We finally got a ceasefire in the Middle East now. So things started happening. What was it? It was like incremental. It was like 6 hours.
Yeah, it was over a 24-hour period. They basically were supposed to finish out what plans they Yeah, didn't they start out in the New York City Underground? Yes. The New York start out on the New York Transit. Yes, they were part of the New York Transit system. The Guardian Angels were
Right.
protecting people because there's so many robberies and thugs going on. Thugs there at that time that
Right.
uh,
You had
and
the Death Wish movies that came out, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that might have inspired them. But
Mm-hmm.
no, it was over a 24-hour period. They were supposed to finish out their current missions, which was that night.
Right.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, Iran was supposed to have stopped, and by 6 o'clock that evening, Israel was supposed to have stopped.
Okay.
Well, Israel decided, well, we've got all this munition, and he did say we could go ahead. So they went and dumped everything they had. And like he said, I didn't tell them to go dump everything. He says, my God, they dumped more than he said, I think they dropped more bombs than we did in the whole 21 years of Iraq.
Right.
He really was pissed off at
Oh
Netanyahu.
yeah, he even dropped the F-bomb.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Oh
this
man.
part of that was because these reporters kept asking him and badgering, and finally he just had enough. And he looked at this reporter and just laid into her and says, he says, these two have been fighting so long they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And that's, and
Yep.
that's exactly what he said. And,
Mm-hmm.
of course, it's a terrible thing for a president to say, but it's funny that after the Democrats lost,
Mm-hmm.
after Kamala Harris lost,
Right.
they started making all sorts of videos of themselves cussing so they could be cool too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But Trump can't do it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's holding, so
That's
to
good.
speak. The Ayatollah did come out with a video today, not the one Art was talking about, but he came out
Right.
with one in which he said they have put a great defeat upon Israel and harmed them seriously, and the United States flew over here and yeah, the United States flew over here and did very little damage, if any at all. And we fired rockets on their number one air base over here and did untold amount of damage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What a crock of shit.
Right.
If he believes that, then he's an idiot. And if they believe it, they're bigger idiots.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it ain't over yet. No, it's not over.
Mm-hmm.
It's not over by any means. This is a ceasefire. They're
Right.
pushing for negotiations now, and part of those negotiations, I think that they're going to insist upon is they want to go see, either have an independent group go in and look at the bomb site or something along that line.
Right.
Because of course they got a early leaked report and said, well, funny thing was CNN before the bombing was saying, oh, they're 3 to 5 years away from getting a nuclear bomb.
Uh-huh.
Now that the bombing has happened and they said it was obliterated, CNN is saying, oh, it only put them off by about 2 months. They'll have it up and running in 2 months. Well, wait a minute. It was 3 to 5 years, or is it 2 months? Make up your damn mind, CNN.
Right.
And
Right.
it was the same broad that got the intelligence idiots. She got the intelligence idiots to sign that letter saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was a Russian deep fake or something.
Disinformation, yes.
Disinformation, yeah. And she also has got them to say that, the COVID-19 did not come from a man-made lab. It was a natural thing out of the
Yeah, it was from bats.
bats. Yeah, the bat marker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I do think we need just to sort of be aware of, we did do a lot of damage, but there's a very good possibility that the nuclear piles that were there's a small possibility that maybe we didn't damage the internals of this place, and there's a or maybe we didn't do as much as we'd hoped. And the nuclear piles, the enriched uranium, seems to have been pulled out before we struck.
Yeah,
and there's I watched a video. It was like last night or the other night by this guy Cappy Army. He's non-political. He just examines military strategy. And so I'm gonna put his video that talks about all this in the chat, so folks can take their own time and watch it, and see what he's talking about and see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's like with the CNN reporter, and I'm going to look at that too because I've been looking at some different videos. But the CNN reporter had some leaked information. First off, that information came from an early preliminary report with just the initial satellite feed that we had, and but it's been confirmed by Israeli intelligence and our own intelligence now that we did. And the other part that we did hit them substantially. And the other part is those not the reactors, but
centrifuge.
Yeah.
Centrifuge.
Oh yeah, the centrifuge.
Yeah. They are very susceptible to like quake damage or shaking. They're very delicate, and with the amount of ammunition ordnance that was dropped on that, the chances are that they won't be functional even if they can get to them. And right now, they couldn't even begin to get to them.
Right.
But and the thing is at first it's like, oh, they're just dropping 2 on there. They dropped 6 of those suckers on there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's those bombs. One will get like 200 feet in. 2 will get 300 feet. What will 6 do?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we dropped 12. There's only 6 holes because the GPS guidance was so good that you could put 2 bombs in each hole.
Oh, yeah.
As
I heard it said today, it was definitely a Top Gun Maverick moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't forget, those centrifuges have what's called uranium hexafluoride. And if one of those tanks were to be ruptured, oh, that is some nasty stuff, because it'll just corrode everything inside.
Yeah.
I mean, not just the stainless steel, but the
and as deep down as they're supposed to have been, it would be a while before that stuff came to the surface, but it would destroy everything down there. Yeah.
Right.
And there's because they said some of the people in the Pentagon are now thinking, some of their thinking is that or in the Defense Department is that they did not move the enriched uranium. Because there are those satellite pictures that look like something was there and then something wasn't there.
Right.
And that's where, of course, again, a lot of this information came out in early days. And as they've accessed it more and more, and, but, there is the possibility that, they didn't do as much damage. I mean, that's always something I'm sure they take into consideration too.
Just for us to be, to be aware of.
Right.
I'm not saying they did a bad job or anything. Of course, my philosophy is nothing succeeds like excess. So where they were putting 2, I would have told them to put like 4.
Right.
If I were in charge, I would have been like, no, you're going to drop 24 of these things inside of 6 holes.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure and get the job done.
Yeah. Well, these are bigger than the Moabs. These are the biggest. This is the first time these have been used in a combat situation. We had the Moabs, which were damn big.
Yeah, 15,000.
Yeah, these things are I don't know if they're twice the size, but they're at least
they're 30. They're 30.
They're 30,000. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a big ass. I mean, I loaded bombs, so that's one thing I'll say. That's what I loaded 500 to 2,000 pounds. Those were, we had the Mark 82 and the Mark 84. The Mark 82 was a 500 pounder, and the Mark 84 was. I have to go back and look. I always thought it was 2,000, but it may just be 1,000. But still, I loaded those, and I know what those would do. We had to learn about them as we couldn't just load them and not know what in the hell they would do. So we got to see some live demonstrations and just 1,000 or 2,000 pound bombs. And we also had some. When I was in, they were the laser guided system just came in. The last year I was in the Air Force. Well, actually about a year and a half. They came in about 78, and the first aircraft to ever use them were the A-10s. It was called the paved penny, and what they had, they're laser guided, but they had to have a guy on the ground to target them. Now they've gone, if they did take the uranium out of there, we will not know that we saw it. Yeah. Oh, if they did take it out, they're already looking for it, and they probably already know
Right.
where it's at. So, but
Well,
yeah.
I just saw a video from Ryan Macbeth, and he really laid it out to where what they'll probably do is take some air samples and see if there's any released radiation from the damage. And then they'll be listening to radio chatter, seeing if the Iranians are saying, hey, we need this part for that, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So we will know what the damage is over the next few days.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like I heard today, the UN, the International Atomic Energy, IAEC, the Pentagon, they named off about 6 different groups, and all of them agreed that it was obliterated, from their own investigation. That's what they're saying. It says, when was the last time all of those groups agreed on anything?
Yeah, that's true.
Even the UN and the Atomic Energy Commission is supporting that it was destroyed. So, and regardless of whether they completely destroyed it or not, if we didn't destroy it, we will go back and take it out, because they can't have nuclear weapons, and that's going to be that'll be what the case is. And I'm
going to show that video real quick here.
All right.
Struck with at least 2 bunker buster bombs. President Trump says the facility was obliterated. Other people say no, it wasn't destroyed. We don't really know what's going on, but here's how we're going to find out in the coming weeks. So first off, we're going to do air sampling collection. That's going to let us see if we cracked anything, if we opened anything up, if the background radiation of that site is higher than it was before. We're also going to do human intelligence collection. We're going to speak to various sources inside the Iranian regime. You have to remember that Iran is really corrupt. Like, it is as bad or maybe even worse than Russia, because sanctions have really limited the kind of money that people can take in. So there's a lot of people who are willing to talk for a little bit of money. There's also going to be signals intelligence collection. We're going to be listening to the Iranians who are talking to each other saying, hey, we need new parts for this thing. We need a rescue team down here, and so on. And finally, we have CybInt, or cyber intelligence collection. This one's kind of my jam. This is what I'm most familiar with. And this is going to be taking a look at what people are sending to each other over computer. You can call it a subset of signals collection. But, you tell your computer things you don't even tell your spouse, right? And it's kind of crazy. People don't lie to their computer. They ask their computer all sorts of questions we would be reluctant to ask anybody in person. And that's kind of where the truth comes out. So we're going to take a look at Iranian conversations in the cyber realm and see if they're ordering parts, see what kind of communications they are sending and receiving with each other about things that they need to either repair the facility or the current status of the facility. The Iranians will give us the bomb damage assessment because they always tell the computer the truth. And in all honesty, the Iranians probably don't even know what happened just yet. Imagine how long it takes to do inventory at a Walmart. Now imagine that every single piece of Walmart merchandise is a centrifuge. Gonna take a little bit for you to figure out whether the thing's in working order. So kind of keep that in mind as you listen to briefings or you read articles in the media, that anybody who's saying that they really know what's going on probably isn't being very truthful, because it's going to take weeks or months to get a really good read on exactly what happened at the Fordo site. So what exactly happened?
Okay, what happened here?
All righty.
All right.
There. So
yeah, Cool
yeah.
Cat says Iran simply can't be allowed to have nuclear weapons. They are one of the only countries. Yeah, there it is. Looking to use the nuclear weapons as a first strike option to attack Israel. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
Not
still.
only that, but everybody else down there knew that they would use it against them as well. They weren't just going to be satisfied with Israel. They'd go after Egypt
Right.
and Syria and everywhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't think anybody there wants that. So yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought, hello TJ too, as well as Michael.
ATJ.
I thought it was there's Captain Joe, who's I guess is still in the hospital.
Oh, okay. Hope you're feeling better, Joe. Glad to see you're here watching.
But yeah, it's going to be something we're going to watch, and
Mhm.
because you're right, we won't know it. I'm not, I won't come out and say I don't have the information that Hesketh or Trump have, so I'm not going to say they definitely obliterated it. What pictures I've seen look pretty close to. They did a lot of damage, regardless. So, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it set them back more than 2 or 3 months.
Right. Mm-hmm. So
And Trump has called for her to be fired, and they're also looking into the person that leaked the information. They're going to prosecute him for treason.
no, that's good. That's good.
Oh.
And the plane that delivered those what is it, GRU 57s? Is that what they're called? I think the bunker busters, the 30,000-pound bunker busters. Yeah, and it was the B-2 that carried those.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
have you ever wondered how those pilots, what they do? How do they go to poop? Well, I have a video for you. Let's watch.
Jeez.
I've never wondered about it, but I guess you have.
B-2 bomber pilots go to the bathroom during their 36-hour trip from Missouri over to Iran. By the way, I'm on Gay Street in Knoxville, Tennessee right now. You'd think it would be one way. Larger aircraft like bombers, tankers, transport aircraft, they have a bathroom that you can use. Now, I don't know what the bathroom inside a B-2 bomber looks like, but this is what one in a C-130 transport plane looks like. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it works. For fighter pilots, they tend to use something called piddle packs, which basically have an absorbent gel that will absorb urine. For solid waste, you would use some sort of diaper. And also, some women are issued diapers. That way they can just go because they don't tend to have the plumbing that can aim into a piddle pack. So yes, not only will we destroy your entire nuclear industry in one night, we'll do it while we're sitting on the throne.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wholly
Yeah.
inappropriate, but actually funny.
It was funny. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got to bring some humor into this.
Well, they did at one time have their basically the front. They had a tube that hooked up to the front of their flight uniform.
Oh.
And they could release, and they would release it as it would go out, and so a lot of pilots would wait until they got right there, and if they were pissed off at their crew chief, they'd open up the valve and they'd get pissed on by the pilot. We always watched out for that. We always, when we were at the end of the runway, because it's like, are you disconnected up? Make sure, because that's not something, but it's happened. They usually save it for when they're over the enemy, and they let it sprinkle out over them. They can say they pissed on the enemy.
Yeah,
but I think they've gone to something more sophisticated now, like the piddle packs,
a little more sophisticated.
Yep.
But
and that toilet on the C-130, yeah, I've used one of those. They're not good to use.
No, you don't have
the urinals are nothing more than a funnel that was that you'd use to put in oil in your car. Basically, that's all it was. Yeah, I've now the C5, they had a nice bathroom, but that C-130, and I've flown a long ways on one of those, and let me tell you, you don't want to use those. Let's see. Okay. Such weapons being anything. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it all comes out. It'll all come out in the wash. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's
or
right.
As y'all like to say, the wash.
Wash. Yep. Let's see.
Oh.
What else is going on? Anything else going on in the world?
Well, not necessarily in the world, but I did want to give an update on Jeff, Alexa's husband.
Oh, yes, dude.
She hadn't been going up there because she had to take care of some business there in Corpus. But they've been fighting to get this J-tube put in, which will help feed him instead of using a PICC line. Well, here last week, he ended up with an infection in the PICC line.
Oh.
And they got that cleared up. They thought it was one of those that's antibiotic resistance. Okay.
Right.
But it wasn't. They got it cleared up. But he was going to, they were going to do it. And then he started having problems one night. And he started going to AFib again.
Oh,
and it just on and off. And basically, she got up there today. And all the doctors right now are saying he's not a candidate for the J-tube. So they're probably going to send him home and put him on, comfort care. And matter of fact, the video she sent to me says he's not too far from passing away, but she got him pulled up in bed and he was looking a little better and acting a little better. So, so just her being there helped lift him up a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, it's not looking as good, like she says, unless they get the J-tube in him or short of a miracle, she's probably going to lose him. So.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, I was too. I talked to her. She called me the other night because she was real upset. We talked for 3.5 hours. She's just having a hard time accepting, or dealing with it, and that's understandable. Right. And He
Mhm.
said if he's not going to get the J tube, he's ready to go home. So when they
Right.
send him home, if he doesn't get the J tube here in the next day or so, he'll probably go home. And
Yeah.
you know, so
Wow.
it's not looking good at all.
No.
So
That's too bad to hear about that.
yeah. So keep her in your
Yeah.
prayers, because
Yeah.
if he
Yeah.
does
Will
pass it,
do.
she's definitely going to need a lot of prayers and moral support, because that's a hard thing to deal with. And in some ways, I had it fortunate. I had a long time. Judy and I had a long time to discuss and to kind of get me to where I probably accepted it easier than I would have had it just
Right.
happened. Because he's been healthy up until 2 months ago, 2.5 months
Right.
ago, and all of a
Right.
sudden he's got stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and it's like, oh,
Yep. Same thing happened with my mom. One day she was using a walker because she was having a hard time getting around, and I know she was dragging her foot. And I said, "What's going on there?" I said, "You need to go see a doctor." I thought maybe she had a mild stroke or something.
right?
So took her there, and that's when they discovered she had lung and brain cancer.
Mm.
So, and she had been a smoker for a long time.
Right.
And she quit, I think, the last 20 years. And I think just all of that smoking for all those years, I mean, 40 plus years of smoking.
Yeah.
That's, and I don't know which started first. Maybe she got the lung cancer and it spread to her brain. She was on chemo. Well, she was on radiation for a while, and it seemed to have shrunk the tumor. And then she just said, "I'm done. I don't want any more of this."
That's the other thing is right now he's had 2 chemo treatments, and they've stopped the chemo right now because he's just too weak to take it.
Right.
But he's had 2
Hey,
treatments.
Ranger.
Huh?
Hey, Ranger.
Oh yeah,
Right behind you.
Ranger's sneaking in behind me, getting him
Yeah.
a drink. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So he's been too weak to be able
Right.
to. So
Yeah,
they've discontinued it for right now, and I don't know if like I said, I don't think they're gonna.
right.
He's wanting to go home. If they're not going to do the J tube, then let's just
Right.
call it a.
Yeah, my mom, she was in the hospital, and then she was home for a short period, and then they decided hospice is a good place. So
Hey Donald.
took her to hospice, and so she lasted about 6 weeks
Yeah.
from diagnosis to that last day that I saw her, she looked pretty bad, but she was in good spirits, and I went home and was expecting to see her the next day, and got a call. I was just about ready to go to bed. Got the call from my sister and said, "Get down here. Mom passed away." I go, "Okay, I'll be
Yeah.
there in a bit." Grabbed my clothes, put them on, got down there, and yep, boy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know with Judy, she wanted to be at home,
Right.
and I, we were really fortunate. The boys had come up and seen her the day before when she was doing better.
Mm-hmm.
And then things started going south for her that night. She was gone by the next day,
Right.
but her mind was clear. They'd been up a couple of times, been up the 2 days before, actually for the week before, they were up almost every day.
Right.
And her speech ability had cleared up to where she could talk to him,
Mm-hmm.
and she was able to communicate real well, and then it's like that light, the light of dawn before the darkness hits.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That last flash of the sunlight before
Mm-hmm.
it turns dark, and that's what happened with her. So yeah, but she's gonna Alexis is that's what we talked a lot about on.
Right.
I can't remember what night it was. I've slept since then. It's a couple of nights ago, I think.
Right.
She just she's not ready for it to happen, but
Right. Yeah.
she's also like any of us are, but
Mm.
it happens, and she'll be okay, but it's just this isn't the outcome,
Right.
and miracles happen. I'm not going to sit here and say they don't.
That's right. Anything
And
can happen.
she's got a very strong faith, and
Right.
so does Jeff.
Yep.
They're very very strong in their faith. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to turn my nose up at miracles. I
Right.
was paralyzed, and I'm up walking around now, so I can't say anything. Except that I believe in miracles too. So
Yeah. Well, the docs told my folks when I was born. They said, "Hey, he's not expected to last through the day." And here I am, 60 plus years later, 65 plus years later.
yeah, you're here.
Yep.
We know it every day,
Yeah.
and we're better for it.
Oh, thank you.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Some days I wonder, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we're praying for you, Alexis. So,
Yes, we are.
yep, we're thinking about you, and yep.
Dawn, she would be glad to hear from you.
Yep.
I don't think it would be a distraction. It actually might be a bit of a distraction that she needs, but yes, she would
Right.
be glad to hear from you. So,
Mm-hmm.
and she said to tell everybody she does appreciate all of the good thoughts and the prayers that everybody's been extending. And so, yeah. So, Dawn, feel free to. She
Mm-hmm.
would definitely, I'm sure she would appreciate it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and as I said, they may turn around and say they can do the J tube and get him scheduled, but right now he's not really a candidate because he's gotten so weak.
Right.
From what I saw of him 3 weeks ago in in videos that she sent, or I actually did. She was talking to me on FaceTime and then put him in it for a minute, and
Right.
uh, what he was to what he is now, looks quite a bit frailer than what he did. So
Uh-huh.
a whole lot frailer than what he was. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
but I wanted to update everybody because I know she's been
Yeah. Thank you
she's
for
been keeping
sharing.
close touch with Bill and I. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
we're kind of in her inner circle right now. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
and she just and that update was as of this afternoon. She just
Right.
you're right, Brian, never give up, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
wanting to,
Mm-hmm.
and they won't give up until it happens. It ends one way or the other. They're not giving up,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I never gave up, and
Right.
actually neither did Judy. She just couldn't handle what was going on, and if it was her time to go, she was ready to go. That was,
Right.
and it,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you, I was a bit of shock because I thought she had a few more days, and
Mm-hmm.
instead of just a few hours, but
Right.
So I understand what she's coming from. It's a hard choice to make one way or the other. I pray that things will turn around
Mm-hmm.
for Jeff, but being the realist that I tend to be, and I think she's coming. I think her and Jeff are both sort of coming to that conclusion. But
Mm-hmm.
as she said, short of a miracle, and we can
Mm-hmm.
all pray for a miracle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's that side. I kind of got us off track a little bit on the show, but
That's okay, Lloyd.
I thought
Yeah.
everybody would want an update on Alexis. So
Right.
But
So yeah, we're getting close to that hour. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming, and don't forget my regular show tomorrow night, which will be an hour earlier. It'll be 2 hours, and it looks like I'm working again this weekend. So it'll just be a 2-hour show. So come down and watch that. Be supportive, and don't forget Bill's show on Saturday night, and then Lloyd's show on Monday.
Yep.
So everybody have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody. God bless
y'all.